Hello, and welcome to the briefing brought to you by Cyber Team 1. Today is August 1, 2026. In the next 10 minutes, we'll cut through the noise and bring you the cybersecurity intelligence that matters most to business leaders and defenders. Everything we cover today comes from the last 7 days, and there's a thread running through this week that I want to name up front, because once you see it, the whole episode makes more sense. This week, in 4 separate incidents, the obvious fix didn't work. Not the fix was late, not the fix was hard. The fix was applied correctly and the attacker was still there afterwards. We'll come back to that. Let's start with the one that has a deadline attached. First, Cisco. Cisco makes a product called Secure Firewall Management Center. Think of it as the control room for your firewalls. It's the console where your team decides what traffic is allowed in and out of the business, and then pushes those rules to every firewall you own. Researchers found that this product shipped with a password built into the software itself. A permanent, unchangeable password, the same on every installation, that anyone who knows it can use to log in. And attackers were already using it before Cisco had a fix ready. The American cyber agency, CISA, added this to its list of vulnerabilities known to be under attack on July 29th and gave US federal agencies until August 1st to fix it. That's 3 days. That's about as urgent as their system gets. Here's the detail I want executives to notice. The technical severity score for this flaw is a fairly modest 5.3 out of 10, but Cisco itself rated it high. When a vendor overrides its own scoring system to tell you something is worse than the number suggests, that's the vendor speaking plainly. Listen to the vendor, not the number. So the question for your team today is short. Do we run this product? Is it patched? And, just as importantly, did we go looking for evidence that someone already used that password before we closed the door? Because a built-in password means the key existed long before anyone told you about it. Next, and this is the one that genuinely changes how incident response has to work, the security firm Proofpoint published research this week on a Russian espionage group. They've been exploiting a flaw in Outlook Web Access. That's the version of Outlook you use in a web browser, and they've built something new with it. The way in is remarkable on its own. It's what researchers call a half-click attack. You don't click a link, there is no link. You don't open an attachment, there is no attachment. You simply read the email, and that's enough. The emails are deliberately boring. Supply chain updates, research notes, market figures. Nothing that would make you suspicious, because there's nothing to be suspicious of. No amount of security awareness training defends against this, because the user hasn't made a mistake. But the clever part is what happens next. The implant they installed doesn't sit on your laptop. It reaches into the mail server and quietly gives itself permanent permission to read that mailbox. And it grants that permission to every account in your organization. So here's what that means in practice. Your security team detects the intrusion. They reset the user's password. They wipe and rebuild the laptop. They close the ticket. And the attacker is still reading the mail. Proofpoint says it directly. Credential rotation and even a full rebuild of the device will not evict them. If your incident response playbook ends at reset the password and re-image the machine, that playbook is now out of date. There is one specific thing to check, and I'd write it down. Look at your mailbox folder permissions and see whether the default user has been granted owner. That single check is the tell. The targets so far have been government, telecoms, banking, hospitality and aerospace in the United States and Europe. But the software is the same software Australian organizations run. If you're still hosting your own Exchange server with webmail exposed to the internet, this is the week to have a serious conversation about whether that arrangement still makes sense. In another development, the first properly documented case of an artificial intelligence running an attack campaign on its own, Palo Alto Networks published research on a Chinese-speaking operator who connected an AI model to an open-source agent framework, software that lets an AI run commands and work unattended. He sent one instruction over a messaging app. After that, the researchers found no further human input in the session. The AI found systems exposed to the internet, It picked exploits. It checked whether the targets were running vulnerable versions. When one approach wasn't working, it gave up on it and chose a different vulnerability instead, weighing up how severe each one was and how widely it was deployed. More than 460 targets were attempted across the whole operation. Now, I want to be careful here because the alarming headline isn't the useful part. The useful part is that it mostly failed, and it's worth understanding exactly why it failed. The attack stopped because the targets required a login, because an automatic sign-in setting was switched off, because there was no publicly reachable entry point. The AI could search thousands of systems in minutes, but it could not get past a locked front door. That's the finding to take to your board. Basic configuration held. Not clever detection software, configuration. What has changed is the economics. Finding you used to cost an attacker time and attention. Now it costs nothing. So if your organization has ever comforted itself with the idea that it's too small or too obscure to be worth targeting, that idea has quietly expired. You'll be found. The only question is what they discover when they get there. And there's a specific action attached. The AI was hunting for workflow automation tools, AI agent builders, and data notebooks left facing the internet. These are exactly the tools that teams stand up themselves, quickly, without telling IT. Go and find yours. Now to Australia, and an incident that deserves close attention. QPilot is an Australian company that designs flight controllers for drones. Their hardware is used in surveying, agriculture, search and rescue, and in defence and government work. On July 24th, an attacker took control of the settings that direct traffic to QPilot's website. And then they did something that removed every warning sign a user might have seen. They obtained legitimate security certificates for every part of the company's web address. So a customer visiting the site would have seen the padlock in their browser, seen a valid, trusted connection, and been talking to the attacker the whole time. QPilot regained control the same day, revoked the fraudulent certificates, took their systems offline as a precaution, and reported the incident to the Australian Cybersecurity Centre and to law enforcement. That's a good response. But there are two problems here, and the second is the serious one. The first is stolen passwords. If anyone used a QPilot service on July 24th, their credentials may have been captured. That's fixable. Change the password and change it anywhere else you use the same one. The second problem is the software that runs on the aircraft. QPilot has told customers not to install any firmware downloaded on the 24th or 25th of July until they've finished checking whether those files were tampered with. Firmware from before the 24th is, in their words, currently considered safe. That's careful, honest language from a company still investigating, and it should be read as an investigation in progress rather than an all clear. If your organization flies these systems, someone needs to check today whether anyone downloaded firmware on those 2 days. And there's a lesson here for everyone else, whether or not you've heard of QPilot. Most organizations treat the padlock in the browser as proof that a download is genuine. This incident shows that once an attacker controls where your web address points, they can get a real, valid padlock of their own. If you distribute software or hardware updates to customers, the padlock isn't enough. Your files need to be signed with keys that live somewhere the web server can't reach. 2 more items then. What to do about all of it. Australia's cyber agency co-authored new international guidance this week, published on July 28th alongside the American agencies and international partners. It's about how to disconnect your critical operational systems, the machinery that actually runs a power network, a water utility, a rail line, from everything else during a cyber crisis, and keep operating that way. What I like about this guidance is its honesty. It doesn't pretend disconnection is free. It says plainly that isolating systems delays your patching, reduces what you can see, and pushes you back onto USB drives to move data around. and that you need to plan for each of those costs. That's realistic advice, and it's the kind you can actually build a program around. For Australian critical infrastructure operators, this maps directly onto your risk management program obligations, and the honest starting question is simple. Could you name, today, the systems that must keep running if you disconnected everything else? Most organizations can't. That list is the work. And finally, the ransomware group CLOP has picked a new target category. CLOP's pattern is consistent. It selects one widely used business system, breaks into everyone running it, steals the data, and extorts victims over the following months. Previously, it was file transfer software. This time, it's product lifecycle management, the systems that hold engineering drawings, product designs, parts lists, and supplier terms. That's a different kind of loss. If customer records leak, you notify people and you recover. If your product designs leak to a competitor, there is no recovery. The damage is permanent. Most of the victims identified so far are small and medium manufacturers with these systems exposed to the internet and limited IT support, which raises an uncomfortable question. If that describes a company in your supply chain, your designs may be sitting in their system. So, to wrap up, here's what this week actually asks of you. If you run Cisco's firewall management product, patch it today. The deadline the US government set has arrived, and go looking for evidence it was already used. Check your mailbox permissions for that default to owner grant. It takes an afternoon, and it's the difference between an incident closed and an incident that only looks closed. Go and find the workflow and AI tools your teams have left facing the internet and put a login in front of them. That one control defeated most of an automated attack campaign this week. Ask your incident response team a direct question. When we closed those account compromises last quarter, did we check for persistence on the server, or did we just reset passwords and rebuild laptops? If the answer is the second one, some of those cases deserve another look. And if you're still running your own Exchange server with webmail open to the internet, make a decision about it. Migrate it, put it behind a proper access gateway, or write down that you've accepted the risk and who owns it. What you can't do anymore is leave it undecided. That's it for this edition of The Briefing. Stay alert, verify the facts, ask the hard questions, and we'll see you in the next one.